So we haven't been doing the recaps, the monthly ones, since August. I realized like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, I think that also maybe because we were super busy with interviews and also super busy with everything going on internally.
Yeah. I think especially like the interviews. Like we've been doing mostly guest episodes the last months, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like it's, I don't know, we actually just have to show up once a week.
Nah.
But then I have to edit the episode, and it's for some reason we got into the cycle of it had to be edited on Friday to go online on Monday because we didn't have an episode recorded. And oh my god, it was a lot of
Yeah.
It would have been easier had we done the recaps.
Yeah, probably. Okay, we will continue. We'll continue the recaps next year more consistently.
Maybe we should do like quarterly ones instead.
Yeah,
I feel like that's more realistic.
And I also think that it's probably more valuable.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't have much to say a lot of the
No,
time.
it was kind of just like a filler.
I don't know if we have a lot to say in this episode.
I think so.
Wait, actually I wrote some things down that I wanted to mention. Like what? Oh yeah, I remember what I wanted to say.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that this year has been my the year that my LinkedIn career kicked off.
I think in general, this was a year of realizing things.
Everyone who has been listening since the beginning knows how much we used to hate LinkedIn. It's so funny, the like evolution, because now I'm like low-key obsessed with it. Like, I don't know, I don't really enjoy scrolling on there. I do feel like a lot of the times it's not all valuable. Sometimes there's stuff I like to see. But what I do enjoy is I feel like my content there is actually reaching the people that it should be reaching, which I haven't had that experience on other platforms.
Yeah, we kind of ignored that our target group is there.
I know. We're so funny because we're always giving people advice like, yeah, put your work where like your network is, like, or where your clients are, and we haven't been doing that ourselves.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of like the designer sickness, because it's kind of like every designer knows like positioning and everything, and then they end up not doing it for themselves.
Yeah, you forget to apply it to yourself.
And oftentimes you don't have the time to like do all the research and everything that goes into it. Like usually you take that resources and put it into client work versus putting it into you.
Yeah, so speaking of client work, I feel like this year we had barely any client work, and somehow we have like a really good financial year. I don't know how that happened. I feel like I should as a business person, but honestly, I'm not that involved in looking at the numbers. It's more your thing.
That's so I can shed a bit of light onto it.
Okay, go.
The good thing is that our fixed costs have been pretty low.
Oh yeah, true.
Exactly. So from considering the last years, our fixed costs have been reduced by a lot, meaning that, and on top of that, since we have clients that pay well, we have like a lot of liquidity due to that. So meaning low fixed costs, high budget kind of amount to the situation we're in right now. And we had like a good year last year, and with like a lot of new projects coming in, or new retainers that we signed, and due to that we have like a lot of liquidity. So this year we could kind of like lean back in that regard and be like a bit more relaxed about our financial situation, which is nice for a change, because I feel like we haven't had that in the past years. So this is more like the year we are more focused on the internal things versus the external things.
Yeah, that's something I wrote down too.
Exactly. So maybe let's get into that.
Yeah, it's the year of internal projects.
Exactly. It's really the year of internal projects. So due to having liquidity and not like the biggest stress to like sign new projects all the time, we kind of had like we did some thinking. We did some thinking on the company. We did some thinking on what we want to do in the future and what we like and what we don't like. And we also noticed that, okay, we really like helping people, kind of what we do now with the podcast, and we kind of want to like extend that. And on top of that, since we like doing that so much, we're actually also working on a tool, which we've mentioned before, which is called Factor, that should help you with pricing your projects. So you can tell we're going into like a certain direction. And on top of that, Becca has been way more involved in social media. That's something you can talk a bit more about.
Yeah, so basically what I've been doing is lead generation. Like lead generation for not yet our studio, because our studio website didn't go online for so long, but I have stuff planned for that as well. But it's lead generation for Factor. And what do I mean by that? Like building a community, building anticipation, building potential like people who are going to use the tool. So that's, on the one hand, it's lead generation. On the other hand, it's also just educational content. But the educational content has the goal of lead generation. So let's be for real, everything is like marketing nowadays. I'm not going to like lie about that. But what I do like about it is that I actually enjoy creating that content. So it's not like, it doesn't feel like a job to me, which is nice. And then the other side is the creative consulting content, which is also mostly on LinkedIn. And again, it's lead generation. So on the one hand, it's educational content. Like, for example, what are the pricing models and which one should I use? Or like, why should you not use hourly based pricing and when does it make sense? Those kinds of posts, and what they should be doing is on the, like educating and then potentially lead generation. So someone would see that and see, oh, I like this content. And then like, okay, maybe this person has more that I could learn from. And then they would go on our website and they'd see, oh, this person offers consulting. And then they book a consulting session with us. That would be like the flow for the consulting stuff. And for Factor right now, it's just like generating follows, newsletter signups, and it's been really successful. Like, and I feel like in a short time we already like reached 50 subscribers on our newsletter, which I think is a big success considering the tool isn't even out yet and there isn't really much to see. But we do send newsletters like every 2 weeks pretty consistently, and yeah, I think it's valuable content for people because it educates on pricing. And the work that we do for the consulting stuff is also mostly like education on pricing and positioning. So yeah, that's been my role this year. Content creation and marketing. And like and at the end of the day is lead generation for those two things currently. And next year I'll be leaning more into lead generation for same studio.
Yeah. So we finally launched the website. Also something we've been doing. So we redid the website. We made it a bit more SEO friendly. Not just that. I think that we highlighted our services way better. We positioned it a little bit more, and we made it more accessible in a sense of typically we have like 3 different kinds of clients. Usually like on the lower end, we have like clients who would just start out. They usually have like lower budgets, but we try to like still have a solution ready for them. Then we have like the growing clients, which are, I would say, the clients that we used to have the most. They are usually in need of more than just like a little website. The scope is usually bigger. It also needs to have like more process behind it. And the final pillar or the column, whatever you want to call it, is like our enterprise clients and the packages that we offer there. So we wanted it to be like a bit more transparent and to actually be able to talk to those clients on the website. With talking, I mean to like speak to them, I guess, in a sense.
So that they feel like they could be represented if they booked us.
Exactly. So because I feel like a lot of agency websites, and I've been doing a lot of research before we did the redesign, they don't really have like information on pricing, which I totally understand. You can't like really put the price tag on every client's request that I get. But I think that sometimes when you're like maybe a small client, you don't feel like, okay, you could contact them, and maybe you actually wouldn't be able to work with them because of their prices. But we've always tried to be accessible for clients of different sizes. Like I feel like that was one of our strengths, to be able to have a budget and make the best out of it. And that's kind of what we wanted to represent on the website. On top of that, we updated our case studies. So we made them way more focused on the project itself, the challenges, the outcomes, versus, wow, we did the school. It's so beautiful. Look at it. And I know that most people just scroll for the images or the videos. I'm totally aware of that. But some people are actually interested in the process behind it, and we highlighted that way more. We also have another section now in the About Us, also listing our awards, our press things, and wherever we were featured.
And also our process.
Exactly, which is actually one of on update, that was a highlight, I would say, because we never really had our process out there, although this is one of our big strengths, which is our process. So right now we have like a really thorough breakdown of it, just to really know, okay, when you book us, what can you expect? Of course, you also have like a little asterisk there, that the process can look different depending, of course, on the project, but that's in general our process. So that's also highlighted now. I think that those were like the biggest changes that we did on the website. Obviously the design is different, but overall those were like the biggest updates in terms of content.
Yeah, and the main reason we did it was also lead generation. So like I have plans for content for lead generation with Same Same Studio, and it's important that the website reflects that. And has like everything set up for that lead generation, so you can link, for example, link to the process, link to like if someone, maybe you have a lead like lined up, maybe someone contacted you on LinkedIn and they want more information, and you have like a lead, and then you can just send them like a link to the page that's relevant to their business and things like that.
Yeah, on top of that, since the case studies are more worked out now, we don't need like an extra PDF with all of the things, so we can just literally like send the links to the website. One thing I forgot to mention about the design was that the design now reflects our design practices even more, like the way we work for clients too, being like playful but still structured.
Yeah,
like it's still something else than like a typical agency website, I would say. However, it's like from the UX, it's like very structured.
I feel like it has some e-commerce vibes.
Exactly, but
which I tried to like bring into it, like with the mega menu and stuff.
Yeah,
to reflect like a lot of the e-commerce work that we did.
Exactly, but still keeping it playful. Like there's always like a little bit of a playfulness to it, which we always try to keep with our client work as well. So it's kind of like a mirror of how we work and what we do.
Okay, one thing I wanted to talk about in this episode were like lows and highs, because I think those are always fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could do lows and highs, and then we could do like our goals for next year or something.
Yeah, sounds good.
Because I feel like we covered like the main things this year.
We did.
Okay, let me think of a low. I feel like it was a pretty high, so I don't know.
Okay, so we mentioned this episode that we had actually a pretty good financial year, but that was due to the setup of last year. So it kind of like created a nice cushion for us.
Yeah, and also the fact that we have a couple of clients that just keep coming back to us.
Exactly, we have retainer clients, and that's pretty comfy, I would say. But I could mention like the bad part of being comfy is that one becomes a bit lazy. So we haven't really closed any new projects this year. So basically reliant on the retainer work that we're working on currently. And I would say that's not the most positive about this year. This is something that we didn't plan for, of course, but since we were a bit more comfy, I would say it's not like we panicked about it, but it's something that's not really positive coming out of this year. Like starting with the negatives right now, so we can end it on a high note.
Yeah, I think that's the only low I can think of. Because, and it's not even that big of a low, because it's low like obviously it's not good business-wise, like I'm going to be honest. I'm not naive about that. But it wasn't such a big low for me because it is a lot easier to be doing work for clients that know you and that you know well, and that come back to you for like small like maintenance work or like retainer work. That work is just so much easier and less stressful and time consuming. So it's not even that big of a low. Would it have been nice to have like something? Actually, we did finish one project that started last year, which I feel like kind of counts.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we did have something for our portfolio this year, which was Sally Hansen. Like it started last year, but we finished it this year. So at least we have like, again, that low isn't even that big of a low because we still have like a really amazing project for our portfolio that we were able to add this year. Still a low.
Yeah, I would say
realistically,
yes, because you shouldn't put all your eggs into.
Yeah, I am very aware of the fact that we're financially dependent on these clients, and if they decided to go somewhere else, then we'd be out.
Also,
But that's next year's problem.
that's first of all next year's problem. Second of all, a lot of agencies
Yeah.
are running on that business model. Like it's a thing that you usually have like one or two really big clients that you rely on financially. And once those break away, then you're kind of in trouble and you start with layoffs. Like that's kind of our industry also, which I really don't like about this industry. Like you really need to have like this like big retainers to actually stay sustainable for a long time, because when you keep like chasing new contracts and don't really like lock down, I don't know, or cuff clients to you and to your work via a retainer, for example, you just end up like chasing new projects all the time. And we were in that cycle as well. And I have to say this I prefer.
Yeah.
So we have had our experience with both ends. Obviously, a balance would be the best, but we're working on it. But that's next year's problem.
Yeah. So what would be a high?
A lot of things.
I think my highest high is like Factor. I'm really excited about what it's going to become. I'm really excited. We have like a lot of plans for the future.
Yeah, I'm
involving
excited about it
Factor,
too.
which we can't reveal yet. But I just feel like it's gonna be a really big part of our life at some point, and I'm like excited to see where that goes.
Me too. Also because it's, I mean, not in the form as we have it right now, but in a different form. We were already thinking about that years ago.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like something that you're just like, yeah, maybe one day, but you never really make time for it. And since this year has been lower on client work in the sense of closing new clients, so it's been also less stressful. And therefore we suddenly had the time where we're like, okay, should we just like do it now? And we also were lucky because Daniel, the one we're doing it with, Tech Factor, reached out to, I don't know, everything just aligned and it made sense.
Yeah, I think had I not talked to him on our Discord that day about like, it was so random because it was just like a random like question of the week thing, I think, like how do you price your work? And then he had mentioned like he uses this Excel sheet, and I was like, oh, like send me that, I want to see that. And then I was like, it reminded me so much of like because then we like we were joking about like making a website out of it, making it like a digital tool instead of an Excel sheet. And then we got to talking, and it reminded me like of exactly the things we had been talking about years ago of like a tool we wanted to create. And then I was like, wait, like we could totally combine this.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that had that not happened, I don't think we would have had the motivation to do it.
No, that was like a really helpful.
Which is also such a positive thing of this year is community, which is something that we like started more of. We'd never been involved so much in like community building. I feel like in some ways like with the podcast, but not actively like creating a community. And we started with the Discord, and then that's just such an amazing example of how something so small, like creating this tiny community online, can lead to like this working together on a project, which leads to like this bigger thing, which has now become like this project that we see as like a huge part of our career at some point.
Yeah, it kind of snowballed into that.
Yeah.
In a good way. And speaking of community, we also had our first in-person community event, which was also so amazing. I had so many great conversations there. It's also something we completely neglected.
Yeah.
But right now it's kind of like our phase where we're also at like conventions or like just reaching out to more creatives and talking to them. Also with the interviews, which we kind of like didn't even mention as a big part of it. We have mentioned it in other episodes. So as you may know, most likely since you're listening to this episode, is that we have an increased number of guest episodes now, which was also something that's a high for this year.
Oh my God, the highest high of this year is actually AJ.
Yeah, actually hiring an assistant is life-changing, guys. Please do it.
Because hiring an assistant made that possible. Without AJ, we never would have gotten the guests involved. Yeah. We never would have
maybe one or two because we were like motivated, and then we would have like, oh, whatever, we don't have time for this.
We wouldn't have been able to do it consistently. We wouldn't have been able to do it so organized. We wouldn't have been able to organize the event.
Shout out to AJ.
So shout out to AJ. I know you're listening because you listen to every episode. But yeah, I think that's actually the highest high now that I think about it.
Yeah.
In terms of impact, that was probably the biggest impact.
Yeah, because also it freed us up. Also, she's doing more work beyond that, like
Yeah.
administrative work, and that freed us up because it's kind of like work that you have to follow up, and you kind of have to do, and you kind of get out of the creative flow.
Yeah.
It's like something we did not enjoy. So there's some work that is admin work that is like, okay, fine, whatever. But there's like work we truly hated, and that was one of it.
Yeah, and it's not even like that I dislike it. It's just that I just don't think about it.
Yeah,
I have difficulty remembering to do those things.
same.
So yeah, and it's just so nice to not have to think about it. Like we really just have to show up every Thursday for the podcast episode, and I feel so blessed.
Yeah, that's amazing, because that would take up so much time. I know, like just the outreach, just the organization,
The back and forth.
Yeah, so really thankful for that, and I think that's actually a really, really big tip. I would say, even if you're like small,
Yeah.
like getting an assistant will probably change your life.
It's something I see a lot online as well, as people saying like, what's one thing you would have done differently about starting a business? And I always comment like, either get an assistant right away or somebody to help you with like operations.
Yeah, because it frees up so much of your time. Like I think when you start out as a freelancer, you cannot even anticipate how much work goes into operational work.
Yeah.
So I think on another podcast I once listened to, she also mentions like, okay, one of the regrets that she had is that she didn't hire an assistant earlier, because I think that a lot of people forget that you're running a business when you're a freelancer.
Yeah, you just think about the output and the process of the creative, not like all the admin and organizational stuff.
Exactly. And it's like, there's also like virtual assistants, like you don't need to like have like a full-time position filled. Like it doesn't need to be full-time. And
Even just hiring someone for like 10 hours a month.
yeah,
Doesn't even have to be a week, but like just something to do your bookkeeping, to do emails, like answer weird government letters like that you don't have the mental capacity for.
exactly. And then you can focus on the business. And I
Yeah.
think that's like a really good balance. So huge tip here, if you haven't already, look into that.
Okay, should we move on to goals for next year?
Yeah. Well, there's actually a lot of goals for next year.
Yeah, I guess like okay, I'm gonna name a goal for I'll name two goals. One goal for Same Studios, that we get like at least one lead. Or like one, not like we get leads, but a lot of them are very like not good, but like a really good high quality lead that actually turns into something.
Yeah, maybe they get a new contract.
Yeah, like a new
That's it.
contract. But like I want something that's really like long term, you know, not like one of those short term portfolio projects.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But that would also be fine. Like maybe one portfolio project and one like long term.
Yeah.
That would be like really big goals.
Yeah.
Second goal would be to keep the clients we have now, like to have those contracts renew.
Yeah.
And third goal, I have a third one, is that that Factor, that we're able to launch Factor, which I think we will do obviously, but that is also like that it resonates with people the way that I expect it to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a nice
big
way.
goal of mine.
That's a nice way to put it. Well, I have similar goals, obviously, being in this together. For me, Factor is like a really huge goal. It also kind of like is a tool that kind of where I'm reaching my limits, where I'm like doing development work, because I'm really seeing, okay, this is like it's so complicated, and like so like the whole setup of it is so different to what we usually do. It's also kind of great to see that it's something I'm capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to like explore that obviously next year. But in terms of like bigger goals, I'm really excited to see the future of Factor. One of the goals is also to be more out there and to be more like ideally maybe having also lectures at universities, just creating more education around the topic of pricing would be a goal for me. It's mostly like a lot of goals are leaning into like helping people. But on top of that, of course, same with Same Studio. Obviously, closing clients would be
It is
great.
unfortunately our income.
Exactly.
Like,
Like,
I
just like
wish-
help people.
It wasn't. I wish we could make money doing the educational stuff, but unfortunately, we cannot. So we have to do the same stuff.
Exactly. And not that it's not fun. It's just that I'm kind of like it's like, you know, when you like have this shiny new object,
Yeah.
this factor. And I really like, also when I'm coding right now, I'm like mostly thinking of that project, which, it's cool to be excited about something like this, but it's also like not so great when you like, your head just starts spinning.
Now I have to answer this client. Oh, and I'm so excited about this other thing. Yeah,
exactly. So it's kind of like that, but I'm really excited to see where it's going, and I can't wait to get the first responses to it. So that's also something I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to, I guess it's more like things I'm looking forward to, less than goals, what I'm mentioning. Another thing though is to, I guess it's also in terms of helping people, whatever, like being more in the network, being more out there. Also a goal of mine, I want to improve my public speaking. That's kind of a goal.
Okay.
I don't know yet how, but I hate being stuck in the same, that there's no progress. So I want to improve that.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. And so that's a goal actually. The same side new clients are a goal, and as you mentioned, keeping the contracts that we have. Also for our consulting branch, it would be nice to like close some clients there as well.
Yeah.
To gain like more experience with that, and I guess this also goes hand in hand with helping people. Of course, it's with money involved, but at the same time, I think we are like pricing very fairly.
Yeah, it's still very affordable.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think that's that as in what I'm seeing as goals and seeing as realistic for next year.
Let's rate this year.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Let's rate this year. What did we...
I don't know what we rated last year.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we rated last year 9 out of 10 because...
I get though why.
And I think this year is the same.
Yeah, it's the same for different reasons.
Yeah. Wait, why was it 9 out of 10 last year?
Because we closed a really big client, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And overall, I think that it was also 9 out of 10 because it was our year of recovery.
Yeah.
Because as you all know, everyone who's listening to this podcast for a longer time now knows that 2023 was a very bad year for us. So that was like a bad year.
Maybe it was 10-10 even last year then, because it was like, it was really good financially and we had like a really big client come in.
Yeah.
I feel like it might have been 10-10 last year.
In hindsight, it sounds like 10-10.
In hindsight,
but I'm not sure what we rated it.
In hindsight, I'm going to say last year was 10-10 and this year's 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
The only reason is just the like not closing any kind of big project this year and just doing kind of maintenance work, retainer work. And then now at the end of this year, we had like one kind of little bit of a bigger thing come in.
Yeah.
But again, it was for a client that we already like had. It wasn't anything new.
Exactly. So yeah, I think 9 out of 10 sits right with me. I'm curious about like end of next year in hindsight what we will think.
Yeah.
But so far 9 out of 10 sums it up pretty well.
Okay. This episode is gonna come out right before New Year's. So everybody happy New Year. And you can't say this in English, but it's like make like your way into the new year. What is it like in German? It's like have a nice entrance into the new year. That's like basically what you say in German, which is so funny.
Yeah, it's kind of a cute way to
It's
put
a
it.
cute way. That's why I wanted to say that.
Yeah. I hope you guys also had like somewhat of a good year this year and also have like a good start into the next year.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Never Went to Business School. Don't forget to follow us here on Spotify. And if you enjoy our content, check out our YouTube channel for more educational videos and subscribe to our newsletter on Substack.